recently just switched to a muscle growth phase after going through a cut to put on some lean muscle mass. This is pretty much what I was looking like at the end of my cut. It's been 2 months so far. Here's a couple of pictures of what I'm looking like now. Here's another one. Overall, a phase like this is sometimes really necessary for you to change your body composition. So I wanted to talk you through my experience and also how I'm doing it without putting on a lot of fat. The first picture I showed you was at the end of my reverse diet after coming out of my calorie deficit. When I started increasing my calories from there, I honestly was just figuring out kind of what was going to put me in a slight surplus. For me, this started at about 250 calories above what my maintenance was at the time. When I initially started that, my weight basically ticked up about like 3 to 5 pounds almost immediately just because I was eating more food. Obviously, my muscles are carrying more water, so my baseline for my weight is going to be a little bit higher. But I also keep track of my body fat percentage, which was staying relatively the same too, so definitely wasn't anything to worry about. It's kind of just a natural progression when you move into a calorie increase. From there, I kind of collected data so that I could figure out what exactly my maintenance calories were so that I could be in a slight surplus for a little bit and then shift into maintenance whenever I was ready for it. I've recently, over the past 2 weeks, been shifting into maintenance, which has been about 200 calories lower than what I was eating initially. I prefer to be kind of closer to my maintenance calorie with emphasizing really high protein and progressive overload to kind of like have a little bit of a slower process with muscle gain just because I'm really happy with where I'm at right now when it comes to how lean I am. When I started changing my activity, I initially shifted my cardio down with this calorie increase. I was running about 3 times per week whenever I was in my cut and my reverse diet, and I kind of changed to focusing on primarily strength training about 4 times a week, Pilates once a week, and then I hit my step count every day. But walking is really the only cardio that I'm doing right now. Besides, on the weekends, I do go rucking, which usually gets me in zone 2 cardio outside. The goal of this, whenever we're tracking it with scale weight, is essentially to tick up slowly over time with my average. So after that initial increase, I've been tracking my average weight every single week and seeing small increases from there. Goal isn't to stay the same on the scale perfectly, because if you are, obviously we're not making much gains with muscle. So right now I'm eating about 2,000 calories. And then when it comes to my macros, I'm prioritizing at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Sometimes I'm over this just because I prefer a lot of protein. It's kind of like the staple in my diet that makes me feel full and satisfied that I really enjoy eating. I prioritize carbs mostly in my pre-workout meal. I eat carbs in every other meal too, but my pre-workout meal is pretty much the most important. I want the carbs for the energy to perform the best on my lifts. That's really important, having enough energy to lift heavy enough so that I can hit PRs, because that's obviously where the muscle gain comes from. If I'm not training heavy enough, I'm not going to see any growth there. So that's why I prioritize carbs and then protein mostly in my post-workout. This is going to be the journey I continue on, honestly, probably throughout the winter. And then once we get closer to like March or so, I'll probably transition back into another mini cut.